Hello, VR heads. How's everyone doing out there? What's up, folks? It's been a while. I'm your humble host, Matty Bruce, also co-founder of SVVR. I haven't been to one of these in a little while, but it is good to be back. So we have a wonderful menu chock full of wonderful presenters for you today. Also, if we could just give a special thank you to NVIDIA for the hosting of the beautiful space and the food and everything going on and the drinks. Fantastic. So we're just going to jump right into this and get our talks going. First up, we have Joe Mander at NVIDIA. Sweet Greenstein is going to come up and he's going to talk about something. I don't know what he's going to talk about, but let's welcome to the stage for V. Come on up.
Can you hear me? Okay, so let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Sweet Greenstein. I'm a general manager at NVIDIA, and I'm also heading the business development for VR here. Really excited to see everyone here. That's SVVR number 31, right? Yeah. And that's the first time in NVIDIA. So I know that it's long overdue, but I promise you that this one is going to be special. We have great presentations, great demos. We're going to give away a couple of GTX 1070s. Woo! And we had barbecue. When was the last time we had barbecue in an SVVR meetup, right? So before I even start, I want to thank Clara. Clara was organizing this event, and trust me, a lot of work went into making this happen. So thanks, Clara. Okay, so I have 10 minutes for my presentation. I'll try to keep it very short, tied to the point. I'll focus on the new stuff, and I'm going to leave a lot of time for questions. And my presentation will be followed by a presentation from Victoria Rega, which she's the Funhouse PM, and then David Coombs is going to cover ANSO. So we have VR at NVIDIA. Needless to say, everyone at NVIDIA is extremely excited about VR. We view that as a huge growth opportunity for the company, and we're very happy to see that VR is finally here. After so many years, so many attempts, it's finally coming together with all the right pieces falling in place. So our mission at NVIDIA from this point on is to move this industry forward. We will invest, innovate, invent, work with the ecosystem partners, work with the content developers, show the world what's possible in VR, and make sure that VR really takes off. While we're extremely excited that VR is finally here, we're absolutely not satisfied. There is a lot more to do, there is a lot to improve. We need better content, we need higher resolution, we need lower latency, we need better physics, we need better audio. Every single aspect of VR has to be improved and can be improved. So we view that as NVIDIA as a long-term journey, a journey that we are very excited to be part of, a journey that we are very excited to lead. The GPU is such a key element to enabling presence today, and at the same time, I'm sure that you all agree with me that innovations in graphics technology will be key to enhancing presence in the future and to delivering new level of VR experience. So with that in mind, there are a couple of things that I would like to get across. One is our commitment to innovation. We are here for the long run. We'll continue to invest, innovate, move this industry forward. And the second one, which is as important and applies to this group, is our commitment to partnership. We cannot solve these problems ourselves. We have to work with the community, with the ecosystem partners to address the biggest challenges in VR, and there are some big challenges. So in terms of strategy, our strategy is based on 4 elements. One is the GPU, the hardware, the VR-ready PCs. The second one, which is as important, is the GFV and the VR-ready drivers. We need the best-in-class software to enable great VR experience. And then we have the VRWorks SDK that I'm going to cover. And the fourth piece, which is relatively new, is the VR application. And that's going to be covered by David and Victoria. So let's start with hardware. VR is a lot more demanding than PC games. Actually, it's 7 times more demanding. You run PC games at 30, 45, 60 frames per second on a 1080p monitor, and VR you need to render to a high resolution, 90 Hertz, and at a much lower latency. We need 20 milliseconds from head movement to display. I'll try this maybe. So it's very clear that in order to enable better VR experience, to enable richer content, we have to push performance. On multiple vectors, we have to push performance, we have to push performance per watt, and we have to push performance per dollar. Performance will give developers a lot more headroom to develop richer content. Performance per watt improvements will allow us to deliver great VR experience in new and exciting form factors. And performance per dollar, the key is to give the developers, the community, the end users, a lot more for the money. We have made a huge step in the right direction with the introduction of the Pascal product line, a product line that we're extremely excited about. GTX 1080, as an example, delivers 2x the performance of our previous generation Titan, the $999 graphics card, at almost half the price. It's 3 times more efficient, more power efficient in VR. So we have the 1080 and the 1070. These are the 2 enthusiast cards that we're very familiar with. And we have another card, the card that we launched just a couple of weeks ago, the GTX 1060. And I would like to spend a couple of minutes to talk about this product. So GTX 1060 is packed with 6 GB of GDDR5 memory, and it's priced at $249 MSRP. The card is now available, and that represents the entry point for VR. Okay? Now, compared to the previous generation, it delivers the same performance of the GTX 980, which was a $500 graphics card. It delivers a lot less power, going from 160 watt to 120 watt, and it's much cheaper. So we're delivering higher performance at a lower power and at a much lower price. It doesn't get any better than that. Again, performance per watt is very important. I get these questions a lot from the community. When is the next generation laptops going to show up? So those cards will enable new VR experiences in the notebooks, in exciting form factors, and it's coming really, really soon. So I cannot talk about products without mentioning Titan. That's the card that, you know, the best card money can buy. $1,200 if you have the budget for it. If you're David or Bruce. It's packed with 12 gig of GDDR5 memory and has 11 teraflops of graphics horsepower. You know, I've been in the graphics industry for over 10 years, and I remember the day that the first teraflop GPUs came up. It was not so long ago. It was like 7-8 years ago, and then 2 teraflop GPUs and 3 teraflop GPUs, and we were kind of like scratching our heads, thinking, no, what are the developers going to do with so much graphics horsepower? And now in the VR era, we're giving developers 7, 8, 11 teraflops of graphics horsepower, and we're just getting started. So performance is a real challenge in VR, but from our perspective, it's a good challenge to have. And it's a challenge that NVIDIA is well positioned to address. So we'll keep pushing the envelope on that end. So I cannot talk about hardware without mentioning software. Software is as important. It's a key element to our strategy, and that by itself includes a couple of components. First of all, a best-in-class driver. So that's our commitment to our end user, to our community, to deliver the best performance on any application at any given point in time. Okay? We'll make sure that the driver is best in class, is compatible, is optimized on your GeForce card, and it runs extremely well. That strategy worked really well for us. It's been very successful in the gaming space with the game-ready driver, and I would say that it's even more important, much more important in the VR space. While in gaming you can tolerate heat-sink, stutter, low frame rate to some extent, in VR it will just make you sick. So you need software that you can trust. You want to make sure that the application, any application out there, can run at 90 frames per second and delivers the best experience right out of the box on day one. So in addition to a very large driver team at NVIDIA, we have 300 people in DevTech whose job is to work with the application developers, game developers with you to make sure that your application runs well, is optimized on GeForce from day one. So it's not just a slide. There is a lot of investment, there is a lot of time, there is a lot of effort that goes into making this happen. In addition to that, we're using our GFE, GeForce Experience Platform, to apply the optimal settings to any user using GeForce graphics card, as long as it's above the min spec for VR. So that basically means that if you have the high-end card, the best in class, we're going to crank up the settings. If you're using a card that's min spec for VR in a very demanding application, we're going to change the settings to make sure that The application once built is optimized and it never dips below 90 frames per second. Again, very important in the gaming space. It's been widely adopted, very popular. It's even more important in VR. You don't want to play with the settings when frame rate dips below 90 frames per second. It's an unpleasant experience. So you really want to trust the software to do it from you as you strip the HMD on. Next one is the VRWorks SDK. We talked about the collaboration with community. There are huge challenges ahead of us in the VR market. And we are absolutely committed to working with all the ecosystem partners, with the community to address those challenges. So we have to work with the headset makers, we have to work with the game engine developers, we have application developers, tracking guys, like you name it. And to that extent, we're going to apply not only our graphics expertise, but our expertise in video and computer vision and many other areas in VR. And the way we work with the ecosystem partners, with the community, is by deploying our SDK. SDK is basically, the VRWorks SDK is a collection of features that when combined with our hardware, deliver higher performance, lower latency, and better experience overall. So we need to innovate across multiple senses. VR, or the sense of presence, is not just what you see. It's a combination of what you see, it's what you hear, it's what you feel, it's the behavior of the environment around you, as well as your interaction with that environment. So from a vision standpoint, we have new and innovative features that allow developers to render to the unique shape of the lens. That's the multi-ray shading or the lens matte shading, utilizing very unique features that are built into the hardware that gives developer 30, 40, or 50% more performance. On sound, for the first time, we are able to simulate sound propagation in the virtual world using our ray tracing engine and our GPU. And touch, we want developers to use our physics library to simulate relatively more sophisticated touch. Okay? Exactly. David from Leap Motion just give me a So, why is it important in VR? In VR, the virtual environment has to look and feel real. The water has to look like water, fire has to look like fire. Your interaction with that environment has to look and feel real. If it doesn't happen, it will just break presence. And we have all seen that in VR. It breaks presence, your brain knows that something is not right, it just pulls you out of the experience, puts you back in the real world, and that's not fun anymore. So all tricks, cheats, shortcuts that work in non-VR applications just don't work in VR. And our physics library is the right way to implement realistic environment, realistic touch, and to make it all look and feel real. One more feature that we just introduced this week at SIGGRAPH is the VRWorks 360, VRWorks 360 video. We introduced it at SIGGRAPH. It's going to be available in Q4. And it will allow developers out there to build stitching applications. So let me take a step back. Why did we even do that? The stitching or the creation of a 360 video is a computationally heavy task, right? You need to capture, you need to decode, you need to do the calibration, equalization, you need to stitch it, and then if it's live, you need to stream it. If it's not live, you need to display it, okay? That takes a lot of compute horsepower. There are many application developers out there already doing that. Video stitch, for instance, is one of them. You can do it either on the CPU or on the GPU. The GPU can accelerate this process in the order of 10x. The issue or the challenge is that the application developers out there are very experienced. They're using CUDA codes. In many cases, we need to help them. We need to handhold them. But the idea here is to standardize it. Standardize, optimize it, and the most important point is we want to make it available to everyone. So SDK is going to make it very, very simple. We're going to have a sample app, and any developer out there, even with limited knowledge in programming, will be able to build and optimize stitching a 360 video stitching. The fourth pillar of our strategy is the VR application. Why are we doing that? We're doing that for a couple of reasons. We built the VR Funhouse just to show the developers, to show the world what's possible in VR. All the physics effects are there. It's a very realistic environment. I really encourage you guys to try it. We have a couple of demonstrations, and Victoria is going to cover it in her day. We also built Ansel to make every gamer, every performance enthusiast user out there, right, an in-game photographer. A technology that has been available up until now to a very limited number of users. They were giving some special game deals from the game developers, and we want to make it accessible. We want to make it available to everyone. So it's a key component of our strategy. You understand the logic, the rationale. So with that, I'll hand it over to Victoria to cover Funhouse. Thank you.
Thank you, Zvi. My name is Victoria Reggae, and I'm the product manager for VR Funhouse, which is NVIDIA's first game. And we launched back on July 14th. Just out of curiosity, how many people have a Vive? Okay. How many people have downloaded VR Funhouse? Awesome. Thank you, guys. The rest of you should think about doing it. So, VR Funhouse actually started out as a tech demo internally, as we mentioned, to show off all the great capabilities, to take all of our GameWorks technology, physics and hairworks and particle simulation, to build a game, a tech demo that would be really fun. And then as we started playing it, we realized it was more than just a tech demo, and it was an actual game. So what we decided to do was we did a combination of games that you would actually find at a boardwalk or at a carnival, like the mole boxing or whack-a-mole, the clown painter, and the shooting gallery, like you would find at an amusement park. And then we also took some liberties with building games that were a little less realistic, like Fire Archer, because it's always fun to light things on fire, Balloon Night, which shows off simulation really well, and then Cannon Ski, which is also a lot of fun. So what we did was we built the world's most advanced VR game. So our flow technology is in the Fire Archer, physics is in the Balloon Night, Flex is in the Clown Painter game, and then destruction is actually featured throughout a lot of the games, but obviously the ones involve shooting are destruction. And then also hairworks. So simulating hair and water and fire are things that are really hard to do in games, and even harder to do realistically in virtual reality. And then we also have our VRWorks SDK that Zvi mentioned, and we've integrated some of the features from our VRWorks SDK into the game as well. So it's available now on Steam. We're actually also planning to open source the blueprints and the assets later this summer so that we can share everything that we learned from building a VR game with the community, with the hopes that people will mod it. Personally, I'm hoping someone will make Skee Ball, because that's my favorite. And it didn't make the cut for the first iteration of the game. We're also working to build DLC content, so definitely stay tuned. There are recommended PC specs. We built this to be the world's most advanced VR game. So the best possible experience would be one GTX 1080 plus another GTX for the physics. And also the CPU spec is a Core i7. The great thing is that any GPU that's a 980 Ti or above will also run this. It just won't be as immersive and as great as the experience when you have two GPUs. For more information on NVIDIA VR, definitely check out nvidia.com/virtual reality, and then also take a look at our SDK. And with that, I think I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Coombs. Hi. Thank you, guys. Go play Funhouse and give your feedback.
Hey guys, so I'm going to show you Ansel. And Ansel is about in-game photography. And you're probably thinking, well, that's got nothing to do with VR. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. If you've not seen what people are doing with in-game photography, people are modding games to create really high-resolution outputs. They're creating beautiful screenshots. There are actually people who are going to galleries to look at screenshots generated from games. And there's a thriving market for people buying art that is made in game engines. So we were interested in making it easy for game developers to add that technology to their games. We're obviously in a great place to do that because we have access to the driver. We're in the right place to do this kind of stuff. So functionality, we give you a free camera. So you're inside the game, you hit Ansel, and then you can move the camera around inside the game, compose a shot that you want of the character, and then you can take a picture. Once you've taken a picture, you can add filters to it. So we have a black and white mode. We have a nice kind of retro look. If anyone's a fan of like low mode photography or anything like that, we have a kind of look like that. But the plugin architecture for that's open. So the idea is that people will be able to create their own plugins to create their own specific looks. So the idea here is rather than people having to mod the games to be able to create these beautiful screenshots, we're lowering the bar and making it easy so that anybody can create beautiful art with a game engine. Another thing we have is super rares. So typically maybe you're running a game at 1080p or 4K, but if you want beautiful output, you could render it at a much higher resolution, chunk the screen up and render it into individual chunks, generate a gigantic picture. And then the really crazy thing is we can actually create 360 panoramas for it. So you can be inside a game and then we can generate a 360 image. And I think at some point in the future we'll also be able to do 360 videos. So you'll actually be able to create a VR experience from within a shipped commercial game. I think that's pretty cool. So Ansel is inside Mirror's Edge Catalyst already. That game shipped on July the 14th, so you can check it out there. And Zvi decided that I was going to do a live demo of that in a minute, so we're going to do a live demo and see if we can do it. So it should be pretty fun. Another game that's going to have it is Witcher 3, which is an absolutely beautiful game. It's chock full of NVIDIA technology. We have awesome hairworks inside that game, so a lot of the animals and creatures are animated with just beautiful looking hair and stuff. It's a gorgeous game, and we're going to let you go in and make all kinds of cool pictures with it. So, you guys all got given Google Cardboards when you arrived, so you can download the NVIDIA VR Viewer. You can check out some of the Ansel screenshots that have been made already in 360, so you can check out some really nice VR. And we also have some iRay images. So as well as doing video games and stuff, we also do, we make renderers that are used by architects and product designers and people like that to build cars and buildings and stuff like that. So I don't know if you guys saw the giant building across the street that we're building. Looks like kind of like an airport terminal, but all built out of triangles. It's really cool. So we have iRay renderings of what the interior of that is going to look like. It's 360 videos. So you can imagine if you're an architect, the idea that you could be in VR and see exactly what your building's going to look like with physically realistic materials and stuff like that is just amazing. Why would you ever build anything before you build it in VR? Build it in VR, you can see how big it is, you can get a feel for comfort, stuff like that. GDC this year, I actually designed our booth in VR in Unity because I wasn't convinced we'd have enough space between the, our little pods with the demo pods. I'm like, I don't think that space is big enough for a human to go through. So I just built one in VR and I just walked around it, and really crummy graphics, right, in Unity. I just put some boxes down. I'm like, yeah, you can't fit a human being between these two boxes, it's not going to work. So, yeah, VR's awesome for that kind of stuff. So, I'm going to try and do a live demo. Yeah! Alright, step one of the live demo, I'm going to try and plug it into the computer.
So like I said, nothing ever goes wrong in real life demo. It's totally easy. Absolutely no risk involved. So we're going to relaunch the game, which will take a couple seconds, so I guess I should talk about something.
So are you guys in my developer program? If you go to NVIDIAdeveloper.com and you can sign up for our developer program, it's free. The only thing I do is send you a newsletter once a month. You can download tools like Insight. Insight is our graphics profile debugging tool. It's really good. It supports Oculus. Just releasing version 5.2 next week, I think, which actually has support for Vulkan, as well as a bunch of other stuff. So, who's using Vulkan? Anyone using Vulkan? A couple of guys, 2 of you. Nice. Who's using Unity? Who's using Unreal? What's everyone else using? This is a beautiful game, actually. I was playing around with this a minute ago, and I felt like I was some kind of like fashion photographer. So yeah, let's just take a shot here. So Dave's going to help me out actually with the demo now, seeing as he's here. Say hello to Dave.
Hi, Dave.
So if you can you let's try and make it look glamorous. Just can you get in and get a nice face shot? Don't fall off. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so we've moved the camera around, we picked a shot that you wouldn't normally be able to get to in the game, and then can we go to the retro filter? It's my favorite filter. There you go, so that's kind of like a low-mo look. It's pretty cool. I like that. So you can play with a whole bunch of different settings here, and like I said, this is a plug-in architecture. The idea is people will be able to develop their own settings to create, interesting looking looks. So, I mean, let's say you're a fan of XP400 film, you could make a plugin that would generate something that would look like a traditional film. So we can take a screenshot of that by hitting the snap button, and that's going to save the screenshot back into the game. But now what we're going to do is we're going to capture a 360-degree panorama. So just go left a bit, left, that one, yeah, do that one. And then click on snap. So that's rendering the panorama in 360 degrees. And so now we can show you that in a viewer. So that's the file in flattened out as a 2D image. It's pretty cool. So there you go. That's a 360-degree panoramic image inside of. It's a viewer for viewing those things. But that means that we can also run it inside a VR app. So if we had a VR headset, we could hook it up and look at it. But then only one of you would be able to see this right now. So it's better if we put it on a big screen, right? But we also, like I said, we also have that cell phone app that lets you use your cell phone to view these things. So hopefully you guys think that's pretty cool. All right, who's next?
Let's take some questions for any of the NVIDIA presentations that happened. It's maybe 3 or 4. Yeah.
Right. I have a question. So this is a plugin. This isn't working at the driver level. It wouldn't work for any game. It would have to be built into the game. Supported.
I think the idea is we're going to provide an API for game developers so that they can do the integration themselves.
So it does require in-game integration.
Okay.
We're seeing a lot of interest from game developers just to integrate the stack. And the other thing that I will say is that it's very, very easy for game developers to integrate the stack. It doesn't take a lot of effort. We're seeing huge interest. Right now we have Mirror's Edge, Witcher is coming, and there are a lot more games in the pipe.
I was just wondering regarding the game engine, Unity, Epic, which one does it work, or you have to have your own gaming engine with it?
It's not specific to Unity or engine. It can work on any engine. It requires, again, in-game integration. So we'll basically have to work with the game developer, whether it's an Epic, Unity, Bethesda, EA, Frostbite. This is integrated in the Frostbite engine used by EA. So it can work on any game engine out there. Go ahead.
Today, it's already ready for integration, or is this in the future?
It is actually ready for integration. We started working with the game developers, so we got it into Witcher, we got it into Mirror's Edge, and we are working with a bunch of other developers as we speak.
I'm sorry, what is that? Is for all of us who want to go functionality, download and start playing with
it's coming really soon. So we're packaging it up right now.
Sorry, we had a question back here. Please speak up.
Are there any plans to ask for more information so you could recreate the scene? If I move around positionally, I can actually see like things that were obscured, which is a limitation of normal 360.
So the question was, is there a plan to capture more information so that we can actually reconstruct a proper stereo VR scene and be able to move around a little bit? I know we're doing some research on that, but it's actually quite difficult. And one of the reasons why it's difficult is because when you tilt your head, so if you're only rotating, if you're just rotating, on your y-axis, it's easy. But as soon as you start to do any kind of
David mentioned the super high resolution feature. So we can render the image at 7-10 times the resolution of the actual game resolution. So we can get to an insane level of details. So basically, you will be able to zoom in and to look into details that are not visible while you are playing this game.
One more right here.
You showed off some of your performance enhancements for desktop VR. What, if any, do you have working or coming for mobile-based VR?
So, mobile-based VR is not different than desktop. Right now, the only notebook that's available on the market that's VR ready is the GTX 980. But we covered the Pascal product line. I talked about the performance per watt enhancement. You can definitely assume that the Pascal product line is coming into laptops, and you're going to see the same level of improvement, the same level of enhancement and performance coming into notebooks as well. It's made much easier now with the power envelope getting small.
I was referring to mobile phones.
Sure. So yeah, that's an interesting one. It's like, do you mean mobile as in laptops or mobiles as in embedded systems? So one of the things we're doing right now is working very closely with a bunch of car manufacturers to build self-driving cars. And we use our Tegra mobile SoC, which is the same one that's used in the Shield tablet and Shield Android set-top box. And it uses the same CUDA cores that you find in a GeForce card or in a Tesla card right across our family product line. So a lot of the software stack just comes right across. And if you think about the problems that you're trying to solve with a self-driving car, pretty similar to the kind of problems you're trying to solve with an augmented reality headset or a VR headset. So we're working with a bunch of people who are developing that kind of hardware, and yeah, the optimizations work.
So by mobile, he meant.
Yeah. All right, that is fantastic. All right, next up, I believe we have Kai and Evan from Verkai. We're going to make their way up here. Is there a transition? You guys got some slides or anything? Or what have we got going on here? Nice. Very good, very good. While these guys get set up, I'm going to do my traditional Ask Bruce Anything because I've tried a whole lot of crap. So if you have questions about VR, be they basic or have you tried this thing or whatever, ask away. What VR questions are gnawing at your minds? Please, people, please. Anyone, not all at once. Who's taking a picture and start questioning? What is it? Come. Yes!
What's the worst VR experience?
Jesus. The worst VR experience I've tried. I'm going to go worst by effect, and this is not a knock on the dev at all. It was a Steam game. I think it was Estranged Act 1. So the game itself is great. The game was so great I forced myself to keep playing it, but one of the things that's interesting in VR is that there's simulation sickness that's due to the hardware, but there's also the things that make you motion sick, and if you experience those things in VR, they will still make you sick. So the game starts in this interesting scene where you're swaying inside of a boat. And I was like, oh my god. I was on stream, I was like, guys, we're gonna keep playing. And the boat's swaying, things are moving, like tables are moving, and it's very realistic, and my stomach behaved exactly as it would if I was on a real boat that was swaying back and forth. So I was able to get about 15-20 minutes in the game, but that definitely made me feel the worst. And I feel really bad because the game was really good and compelling, and I just couldn't go on. So there we go. Question answer. Are you guys ready? Awesome. Let's give a warm welcome to Kai and Evan.
everyone. Thanks for showing up today, and thank you NVIDIA for sponsoring this event. Thank you Carl, Nana, John, and all the SVVR team. Without further ado, here we go. I'm Kai, this is Evan. We're two co-founders of vArchive, image hosting for the future. So this journey started off for us when I backed Oculus on Kickstarter, and I had the opportunity to create any VR software I wanted to, because at the time nothing existed. So what I chose to make was an image host, sort of like Imager or Instagram. Anyways, so the first content we had that people uploaded was 360-degree photos of the real world, and pretty spectacular stuff. I got to meet some of the world's best panoramic photographers, and I learned a lot from them. I learned how hard it is actually, or how hard it was at the time, because this was a few years ago. Nowadays we have, one-button cameras like the Ricoh Theta you can just hold up. So it's gotten a lot easier, but we realized in order to create a big difference in the world, we couldn't do incremental changes where we make real-world 360 better. We had to take a fundamentally different approach in order to get everyone taking 360-degree photos. Because we wanted content, right? I mean, what good is an image host if nobody's sharing stuff? So we had the browser-based VR photo sharing, but we wanted more people to get involved. So how do we make it easier, yield better photos, and cost less? The answer was to go virtual, as NVIDIA has shown you guys. What does that mean? So this was a manually created and stitched screenshot from Skyrim. And this process was pretty complicated. You needed to take a bunch of different 2D screenshots and then stitch them in an app externally and then upload them to our website. And that was just too many steps. It needed to be one button you push on a keyboard or one button you push on a controller, and it takes the picture in the game in real time using NVIDIA GPUs. So what do? We made a free Unity asset called 360 Panoramic Capture. It's been integrated by a couple hundred developers, and we've gotten a lot of great feedback from that. We got a lot of great feedback from this that has let us build a better photo host and a better plugin. So we have a plugin update coming soon, but more on that next time or later. But if you want to find it, you can just Google 360 Panoramic Capture. It's the first result. So we had our image host, and we had this 300-degree screenshot camera connected to the image host. So people could press a key in VR, and that was pretty awesome. People were using it. It was really useful in social VR experiences in particular. It stood out because in these experiences, you can go on adventures with other people through different rooms, different worlds. And having been an early adopter of social VR myself and spending a lot of time in there were so many times I wanted to take a picture of what I saw. Ephemeral moments with other people, right? Like somebody's glitching through the floor, or somebody's avatar is, awesome. Those kinds of moments, there just wasn't a way to take pictures of, so it's cool that we had that. So we're inspired by Imager. You might have heard them. Vine is another one. Stumble Upon is kind of older, but also inspiration because we wanted a way for people to discover VR casually, and more on that later. Google, because Google kind of allowed people to search and discover new websites in a more efficient way. We think the VR market needs a more efficient way to discover. And the Wayback Machine, if you're familiar with that, by the Internet Archive, archive.org. Our name is a play on archive, vArchive. The Wayback Machine lets you go back in time and see what websites looked like in the past. We thought, oh, wouldn't that be great with VR? If people take pictures today, future humans will be able to go back in time and see what our present is like, the early days of VR. Tag team?
Yeah. All right, tag now. And so similar to how we were inspired, we'll come back. There we go. So yeah, so similar to how Imager made links into embeds for Reddit, we did the same thing over multiple platforms. So when you share a link of a video on YouTube, same thing with their screenshots. So it embeds natively into Reddit, so you can automatically interact and see 360-degree content inside of the newsfeed itself. You don't have to leave Reddit or Twitter. Next one. So that's what it looks like on Twitter. And you can pretty much share your virtual memories in the social media websites that you already use today. And you can share VR content and create your own VR content just by sharing a link. And it's very interactive with your regular social media. And it's a great way for people to see what VR is like without putting on a headset, strap it in, and kind of taking the full dive. This is a much more casual way to see what's happening in VR and enjoy people's virtual memories. And also with the social media platform without being able to follow and like people. So that's what we've added on. We also think this is a great way for people to create their own VR celebrities. There's not really VR celebrities right now, but there's going to be a way to do that in the future. And we want to see who's going to be the most followers in VR Archive with the most VR celebrities. Let's figure that out. We also allow people to search and discover virtual reality content in a more casual way, like you talked about. So before, in order to discover any virtual reality content, you have to go on Steam or go in the store, download a couple builds, take hours and hours for the download, then finally pop on your headset and then see whether or not you want to keep playing or not. We thought this process was very broken and kind of scattered. It's much easier just to go through screenshots and get a kind of quick preview of what you want to see, look around, and then go make a decision if you want to download the game, and kind of just know what you're looking at before you kind of take that deep dive in. And you can also view these screenshots in VR as well and get that stereoscopic view and much more prettier, high quality screenshots. And if you don't know what you're looking for, we have random browsing, so you can kind of stumble upon new VR content randomly and see what's happening. New games come out, you can see their screenshots. And we're also platform agnostic, which is nice for a developer or a content creator. All you have to do is upload to one place, and it goes everywhere. It works on your VR, CD1, Vive, and every other platform as well. And this is also a great way to support virtual reality developers, because right now there's not a lot of way for developers to drive traffic to their experiences. This is a way for not only for the developer to promote themselves in an easier way, but for their players to promote the game developer just by sharing their links on Twitter or talking about them on Reddit. Now it's easy for the community to support the games that they love, just by sharing links or even to taking pictures if you want to get in and take the pictures yourselves. So just in short, to summarize it up, we created a browser-based VR photo sharing service that's similar to the Imager for VR. We created our own camera. That was the Unity Asset plugin. It also works with Ansel. And we also kind of advanced the sharing system, making the embeds easier to work with social media websites like Reddit. And also we have native apps for like your VR, CD1, and Vive, which are in the making right now. And today, a little announcement for all you guys. We just launched the VR Archive app on the Gear VR, on Sideload VR. You can get that right now, today. So that's happening. Big shout out to our developers who got that out in the past 2 hours, so they are great and they crunched it out. So please come check it out on Sideload VR, give us feedback, and see how you guys like it.
And if you'd like to check out this deck on your own, on your phone or whatnot, it's pretty easy. Just vrarchive.com/deck, and there are links. So if you click on Sideload, it'll take you to Sideload VR. It's in the Android Play Store. Yeah, so follow us on Twitter if you think we're cool or whatever. Yeah. Good luck.
For a couple questions, got a couple questions for these guys. Over there.
Everything. Oh, so right now we actually support every platform through WebVR, but the web interface is not public yet. It is in closed beta. So only the Gear VR app is publicly available at this time. But if you'd like to help us test out the website and you want to try the Cardboard or the Vive or the Rift CB1, let us know. Send us an email, founders, and we'll send you an access code and you can help us test. I'm sorry, what was the last part? Yes, so we developed our own. Yes. Yeah, so he's asking if we have our own algorithm. It's partially our own, but it's also developed on the past work of other, not developers, but mathematicians. Yeah. Existing ideas and principles just brought together in the right place. In order to happen in real time, right, it needs to be able to take the picture without creating motion sickness, without freezing the game. So there is some optimization we did as far as that. And because it's stitching in real time, it's a different stitching process than you normally find when you're trying to stitch, for example, 360 video. There's a lot more overhead with stitching that kind of content. So.
One more. Are you exclusively 360 capture photos, or are you also doing 360 capture videos, / are you posting 360 photos that capture external photos?
Right, okay, two-part question. So are we doing anything with videos, and do we allow content from other sources besides our Unity plugin? Yes, so let's go to the website. Oh, no one yet, never mind. I was actually going to show the fact, yeah, so we do support video creation. We do not host the videos, so if you create videos with our utility, upload it to YouTube or Vridio.com. Yeah, we're not so much into hosting the content, but you can use the tool for that. Yeah. It's not a real-time capture, so I hope NVIDIA can figure that out, because we've been trying for a while. Yeah, it's on you, NVIDIA.
All right, next up is the folks from Emerge. Sly and Isaac can make a way up. Are they here? Oh, excellent. Cool. Coming on the stage as those guys get set up. I'm going to open it up again. Come on, we're going to try again. Let's get some good questions here. I've tried over 700 VR experiences, people. Shoot me. What? Longest continuous time I've been in VR, I think close to 9 hours during one of the Altspace VR closed beta weekends. I think Elite Dangerous comes close. I've spent about 8 hours in Elite Dangerous, and I love it so much, like I was sweating under the HMD, but I closed my eyes when I took it off to not break my immersion. Wiped my brow and put it in. I'm like, yes, I'm still in the spaceship. So I'm very dedicated to not breaking the immersion once I'm in. Very good. Excellent. Ready? All right. Let's give them a warm round of applause to Emerge.
Thank you very much. Thanks for SVVR for hosting us. We've heard a lot tonight about the technical background that enables a lot of this content, a lot of the future. And right now we're going to bring some of the emotion into the story. And I'm here today with one of my co-founders, Isaac Castro, that's taking a picture with me right now. And my name is Sly. I'm co-founder of Emerge, and we are digitizing our sense of touch. You know, we began not as a virtual reality company. We first realized that the problem was, even with all the advanced technology, we're still limited to just 2 of our senses in our digital communication. We believe virtual reality will change a lot of presence, but even so, we're still limited to just sight and sound. This is our other co-founder, Mauricio, and this is how he communicates to his 2-year-old child every day. They live thousands of miles apart, and he feels like a spectator. Even in virtual reality, it brings a new level of interaction, but you still ultimately feel like a spectator. You don't have to live thousands of miles away from your loved one to understand that touch is essential. In fact, that's our first instinct when talking with someone that we care about. There's actually a lot of science behind the power of human touch. It's shown to not only increase things like compassion, bonding, and empathy, but it can even decrease in physiological stress, pain, and anxiety. So how do we bring back the power of human touch when we're not physically with our loved ones? When an ocean separates us? What happens when sight and sound are not enough? We're digitizing our sense of touch, and we're doing this with the technology that's been in the medical imaging industry for decades. Thank you. So exactly how are we doing this magic? Well, it's actually quite simple. Sound is a pressure wave, and by focusing the acoustic output of multiple ultrasonic speakers, we can create what's called a constructive interference that you actually feel in midair. Another beautiful thing about ultrasound is that it does both input and output, sensing where your hand is in 3D space and then giving the haptic feedback. Sometime in our journey, actually, this year, we realized that touch is about context. And paired with virtual reality and augmented reality, we think we can bring this new level of immersion, this new level of interaction that VR desperately is seeking. So just imagine the possibilities. Imagine being able to actually play and interact with your child while they're actually thousands of miles away. It's the physical interaction that brings presence. Imagine the possibilities in educational content. From our most formative years, we learn about our world by reaching out and grabbing objects and touching our environments. Our brains are actually physically wired to learn through interaction. What if you could touch the surface of the moon? What if you could feel content that you never would have been able to and otherwise? And imagine the possibilities for those who cannot physically move. This is my grandma, and I just visited her 2 weeks ago in a hospital. She has Parkinson's and a lot of other ailments, and she's super excited about what we're building because she will be able to connect with me when I'm not physically there with her to hold her hand. And we're really excited because, as you all know, VR and AR is not so much a sector as it is a technology that will enable companies to disrupt current industries and create entirely new industries. Some of our first earliest users are Bandai Namco, who is a Japanese gaming and toy manufacturer, and they're building virtual reality theme parks across the country of Japan, and they're specifically looking for touch content to connect these theme parks, to connect people in parts of Japan. PlayStation VR will sell more than 3 million headsets this year, and they're interested in expanding the scope past their controllers to enable a new level of interaction. In fact, the more we talk to VR companies like HTC Vive that are interested in mounting our devices on their base, on their towers, they want this new level of interaction because this motion is intuitive. You want to explore it with your hands. And kind of our killer use case, our killer application immediately is what we can already produce right now. If anyone's done any development in AR, VR, you grab an object, you rotate it, you touch this panel, you move it over here. But right now, when you do that, your hand goes straight through the panel. You push a button and your hand doesn't know where to stop because you have no force feedback. And we can already do this now, which is why Meta is so interested in incorporating this. If anyone's seen Marin's TED Talk, it's amazing. And they're building Meta around the neural path of least resistance. They're building around touch, and we'll soon be able to add that sense of touch. So where we are right now, we're pretty early stage. We just finished an accelerator. We have a working prototype that pairs with virtual reality. And by the end of this year, our device will be input and output, sensing where your hand is in 3D space, and then outputting the feedback. By early next year, we'll launch this VR Touch program kit with some of our early customers, like I mentioned earlier with Bandai and Sony and PlayStation. We're a little bit early in terms of the consumer market, so I'm sorry you'll have to wait just a little bit longer. We're aiming towards a 2018 launch into the consumer market. And we're backed by some amazing advisors and mentors. Each one of these have built a moonshot in their own right, and each one of them is supporting us in building ours. And one of our most impactful advisors that we like to brag about is right there in the upper left corner. Her name is Anushi Ansari. She's a telecommunications engineer, CEO of Proteus Systems, title sponsor of the Ansari SpaceX Prize, and the world's first private female astronaut. One day we will become a spacefaring race. When that day comes, the need to connect and be fully present with ones that we care about will be greater than ever. Elon Musk just announced the first manned mission to Mars in 2025. We are incredibly excited because we believe the next few years in technological advancement of AR and VR will be unmatched by all of previous human era. And we're incredibly excited to help build this future. You can go online right now at midairtouch.com and sign up to be a beta tester. Thank you very much.
Let's take a few questions.
Yes. Right, that guy. Our current range is about 60 centimeters above the device. He was asking about range, but we're still within the early stage prototype. The next version will be much greater. And then it's within a range of about 120-degree cone of interaction. So right now, our first device will target kind of desktop applications that you can kind of reach within arm's width. And this man had a question here. Yes, so we're still playing with different form factors. He was asking about form factors and focal points. We're still playing with that, and there's different ways to create shapes. We can't go too far into it because our secret sauce ultimately lies in the software, but you can create a shape by either having multiple focal points, kind of like a point cloud, or you can have a single focal point that moves incredibly, incredibly fast. We do not, I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah, he was asking about sensitivity and individual human reception. So we actually know we have one of our partners specializes in mechanoreceptors and knowing which frequencies modulate different mechanoreceptors in your skin. So we know that different frequencies activate different mechanoreceptors in your skin and touch. Moving forward, we'll specialize that depending on different parts of your hand, different parts of your arm. Farther down the line, we can customize for individual use, like with calluses and whatnot. Yes?
Any estimates on the battery power usage consumption?
He was asking about battery power consumption. Our first device will need to be plugged into a computer or a wall socket. I mean, eventually with battery technology, it'll be wireless eventually.
Let's go with the last one here.
Okay, last question.
Can you focus on asking into, like the fist and give us this inside the fist?
So he was asking about penetration through tissues. So ultrasound is interesting because it can penetrate tissues. It's actually been used in the medical imaging sector, in pregnancies. The kind of most cutting edge research is exactly what he mentioned. You can have a closed fist, have the ultrasound beam form inside the fist and feel what's inside the fist. But that's super cutting edge. That's probably a few years down the road. Is that good?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, now I'm up. So I'm gonna set some things up. Oh, thank you. All right, thank you, buddy. Excellent. So, you want to help me? Thank you, Carl. While I'm getting set up, does anyone have any more crazy questions for Bruce? Here we go. Yes, sir.
Yes. Longest standing VR experience.
Longest standing VR experience would definitely have to be Battle Dome. I play Battle Dome for 2 to 3 hour stretches at a time, and I've looked at the video of myself, and it looks like I'm just standing in my room in the dark doing squats. When actually I'm playing Super Paintball Future Laser Tag and ducking behind bricks, but it looks like I'm just doing like this for like 2 hours straight. So, bodies, baby. So that's pretty much what that was about. It's pretty sick. Oh my God, Carl! All right, very good. No, these are Google, please. Google New. All right, here we go. We're on Steam, you guys. Hold on one second. Hopefully there's no secret files that'll be exposed here as I, yeah. Allspace partners with Nabisco for VR crackers, oh my God. No. So what's up, people? You may know me as Cymatic Bruce. I've been a VR celebrity or in the VR community for quite some time. Co-founder SVVR. I've been with Allspace VR from its beginning, which has been great. And this is kind of this Allspace VR update because I haven't been here a while, and also the caveat, where the hell has Bruce been? It has been a few months since I've been at an SVVR event, so I'll roughly go in chronological order to kind of talk about what's going on in Allspace VR and also me. So I'll talk fast. Slides are not my preferred. I want to use the client, but there we go. So there was a VR hype tour at the beginning of the year. We had 17 cities in 2 months and went to a bunch of developer events talking about our SDK from Vancouver to Atlanta, all the way up to Toronto. It was really well. Good stuff, and there was a contest there. Finally, we got the CV1s in, so we'll be giving away a CV1 from that contest soon. Ooh, very good. Then I was in Switzerland, the World VR Forum for its first time in Switzerland there, and then Montana. Was amazing, a very, very cool first time conference, very art focused, and also I did a talk in TEDx Geneva, which was very awesome as well while I was there in Switzerland. So that was that. With Allspace, it kind of starts off with integrating Leap Motion Orion, which is so sick, yes! So that is in Allspace, and also the interactables, the things you can touch, you can grab those with the Leap, so that's pretty sweet. And also Perception Neuron support is in there, so if you happen to have one of those kits, those work, and we have been using those in events very, very rapidly. We've been having dev talks, so the guys that were behind Keep Talking Nobody Explodes were in there, the CodeSync guys behind Esper were in there, and a few others have been in there giving talks about their experience and interacting with their audience through Allspace VR. Maybe I didn't preface this. Allspace VR, for those of you who don't know, is a shared VR platform for hanging out with people. The vision is that you use Google Hangouts and Skype now to connect with your friends and family or hang out with people in the future with your VR headset, and I'll be using Allspace VR to do that. So that's quickly kind of the very, very, very quick overview of what Allspace VR is. Through our SDK, we've got an art gallery going on, so in real time it's pulling images from Tumblr and making them several meters high, and so you can actually explore that and talk to the artist as well, which is pretty neat. We've got Boss Monster in there. We partnered with Bosswise Games and got the very popular card game Boss Monster going, as well as D&D is there. We've done some improv comedy with people with Perception Neuron from head to toe. It's been hilarious so far. We've partnered with Jash, who's Michael Clara, and Reggie Watts as our founders of that, with Sarah Silverman as well. So there's been some really funny moments in Allspace that have been going on. Also, we have the weekly dance jam Echo Space. That's some of the craziness that goes on there. People jam, and we actually have got live DJs hooked up that are spinning in real time. Both their either motion capture or have a VR headset and have their equipment hooked through the avatar, which has been very interesting. Love Letter, another card game, another partner that we've been able to bring, which has been very cool and popular thing there. We got Reggie Watts into Allspace VR, which was a huge deal. basically, we've used it to launch our technology that we call Front Row. We've had this issue where, oh, we have this really cool person that's in AltSpace VR, and the room cap is at 65 or 70, and now you can't get in because you missed the tweet or whatever it was. So what basically the first step toward trying to solve that problem is to have that person, whoever they are, inhabiting that avatar, able to be mirrored across multiple spaces. So whether you have a private space or a public space, you can feel like you're right next to that person in there. And we also have some back and forth Q&A, so we can like raise a hand emoji, that person can click on it, and then you're beamed into the same space they're in for a limited amount of time to interact with them and ask them a question. So we had Reggie in there with all of his equipment hooked up, which was absolutely nuts. There were some bumps and bruises, but by the end of the event, things were working smooth, and we had more than 1,200 concurrent users in, which is, I think, is the largest VR event ever so far. Then we tried to push the audio stuff further. We got a full band in VR. We call ourselves the Rubinoids. Absolutely ridiculous, but every instrument is hooked up through a mixer and is going through an avatar. We've done some things with our sound codec, since there's differences between VoIP and what you need for actual quality of music to come through and make sure it doesn't break up. So made some advances there. And finally, the SDK, we've got some A-frame support in there, which has been very exciting. People have been playing around with that. They've been apps that have been a constant stream of apps coming, including poker. There's a painter app down there that actually is a rig that is drawn by Justin Roiland. He was in VR. I will not play the video because it's very profane, but it was amazing. It was him, basically, someone asked, well, what do Rick and Morty think of AltSpace? And he proceeded to take a tour around AltSpace with Rick and Morty talking to each other about how crazy the experience was. It was nuts. If you've not watched Rick and Morty, it's an amazing show and fantastic. And actually, they just recently announced a VR title in partnership with Alchemy, which is absolutely outstanding. So, excellent. Did I talk fast enough? Is that cool? All right, excellent. So that's kind of what AltSpace VR has been up to for the past few months. And the very latest things that we've done, we've got a space bubble in there, so people's hands and bodies disappear when they get to a certain distance from you to make sure that you're not, oh, I'm poking you right now, that kind of troll stuff. We kind of, make it a more comfortable place to be. We've also instituted friends, and that's kind of the beginning of the social grab now that there's actually people with VR headsets to make friends with. So now that's rolled out. So that's kind of exciting, not very exciting, I guess, but internally we're like, yeah, we rolled it out. So it's pretty awesome. We'll have some other stuff rolling that'll tie into that around activities and people you connect with. Yeah, sweet. That is the wrap up. Do you have questions about all of these things that I talked about? Yes?
So you mentioned the personal space level. Are you going to expand the anti-troll harassment?
Yeah, I think we're never done. So just to kind of recap about anti-harassment. Right now, I have a row team which is in AltSpace 24 hours in the welcome space. They're in a space 24 hours around the clock. You are able to report users and report any kind of abuse. So you're able to mute people, you are able to block people, and that's right on their name tag there that pops up. In addition to this space bubble, and we know that's we're continually trying to take steps. I think for us, as we move toward and to kind of put this in context, there's three major ways that people use AltSpace right now. One, I'm just going to pop in and hang out with strangers and find out what happened. The second one is that, oh, I heard about this major event. Oh, I'm going to check out this event. The CTO of Leap Motion is talking. I got to go, and I'm going to meet other people that are of like minds. The third way is private. Like, I want to just hang out with friends and family. And we anticipate that's going to be the majority of the people who will be using AltSpace that way in the future. But right now, the chance that you have a VR headset and your circle of friends, that someone else in that circle has a headset, is very low. So the likelihood of you connecting with someone else through VR is not as high. But we're also part of that. So it ties into the harassment stuff where we anticipate you're going to have more of like, I choose to hang out with the people I like, and thus the harassment may be a little bit less of an issue. And if one of my friends logs into VR drunk and starts being an asshole, I can kick him, or I have that control as a user moderator, right? But yeah, so it's an ongoing process. We're definitely learning. This is a new medium and learning with everyone for sure. Yes. Other questions? Yeah.
There's a Leap Motion dance party, I heard.
Man, you heard correct, bro. There is a Leap Motion dance party. Oh, so this is what's happening. Basically, we're gonna have, it's two separate things. I think it's August 11th is the preliminaries, when just people with leaps come out and want to see your moves. We're gonna narrow down the field to the people that are really good. And then on the 18th, that's where we let it all loose. We're gonna have some music going. I think we're gonna have a live DJ. We're gonna see about what we got there. And we're just gonna have a Leap dance party. And yeah, we're giving out prizes too. We haven't decided what the prizes are. We're giving out prizes. Oh shoot, did Zvi agree? Did Zvi agree? I don't know. I don't know. That smile is that a confirmation? Oh, we're giving away NVIDIA stuff, bro. Nice. That's what's up. Excellent. Anything else? Sweet. Good. Nice. We're gonna go into community announcements, yeah? Or John's gonna have a few words, so let's welcome John to the stage. What's up?
Questions for Bruce time.
Oh, more questions for Bruce. Ask me more things. Yes.
Okay, crazy questions. Do you believe that we live in a virtual reality simulation?
Do we live in a virtual reality simulation? We could. This is possible. I mean, I think there's physicists have established that there's a way to prove it, although we don't have the instruments to measure those things yet. I think that's the official status, as far as I know. So there is a way to analyze the data of the universe to verify that we are in a simulation. I would not be surprised if we were. What is that short story? Not down the rabbit hole, something about God is Tom or something like that, when they made like a quantum computer, but then there was like multiple layers down. Yes, I know you love it. What's the freaking title? Yeah, I think. I'll try to find it and I'll get it before the night is done. I'll give you this story. It's a fantastic story about that very concept. Excellent, John, you ready? Let's do it.
All right, real quick, got 5 seconds to tell you stuff, and then we're going to have community announcements. So if you have an announcement that is about the VR community you want to present to the group, come up here and line up. It's going to be like 15-second announcements. So if you have a meetup, an event, an auction, or whatever you're doing, come on up. Okay, so last month I did 5 things you didn't know about SVVR. I'm going to recap that and give you 5 more things you don't know about SVVR. To recap, for people who weren't here last time, and you can talk to me about these after, we promote investment in VR. We have an office you can visit, try out stuff. We curate and give talks about VR all over the world, different conferences. We get speakers for people. We provide professional services. We hook up people from our community to enterprises who are looking for contractors to do projects in VR. And we do events all year long, not just meetups, not just the conference. We're involved in a whole bunch of different things. So 5 more things you didn't know about us. 1, we're going to do a job fair. So if you're looking for a job, actually I got a slide for each of us, so we'll go down those. So if you need a VR job or you have a job that you would like to fill, we have the best community of people who can do good work for you, whether on contract or full-time basis. We have a job board, which you should visit. It's free to post jobs, and we will be very soon announcing a location and some sponsors to have people in to get jobs in VR, so we can stop making this a hobby and start making it a business. We have a bunch of videos that Brian has been awesome at putting together for us from the conference. All the talks, 99% of the talks were recorded. We had to do some work on them to get them ready. We're going to be releasing them over time, so if you missed the conference or you want to revisit a talk, we're going to be doing putting those up. And the way we're going to do it is, for many of them, we're going to have SVVR VR video viewing parties. Woo! Maybe in Allspace, maybe in other social media. So we're going to preview and launch these videos together. So we can watch them together, talk about it afterwards, and then they'll be up on YouTube and other places. Launch events. One of the things, because we're kind of plugged into the industry, we're starting to do launch events. So if you have a product that you're trying to get attention of developers, the media, or just the community in general, let us know, because we're starting to get involved in that and pulling our resources together and making a big splash for new VR products. And we are being pulled more and more into other community events. There's the VR, AR, and AI Future Forum. Is Michelle here? So we're going to be involved in helping with that. There's a summer VR event on August 18th at the Computer History Museum, which will be sending out a code to get you guys a discount if you want to go. If you have events that you're targeting the VR community, let us know. We can help you promote it. And lastly, I think, is research. We are partnering with Greenlight VR to do a survey of the VR community. We're going to be sending out a survey to the entire SVVR list. We really appreciate your participation. We're going to gather that information and share it back to the community so you can see what your fellow VR developers and business people are thinking about and what's happening. So, and if you're not on our mailing list, sign up at svvr.com. So, quick poll time. How many people here, this is the first VR meetup you've been to? Don't be shy. It's amazing. Welcome. Community's just getting better and better every year. Great. Okay, other things. VR LA is next week. Who's going? Just curious. Who's making the road trip down? Okay, you guys look around, meet up, carpool, get together. There's a lot of VR development classes. Many people have been asking me kind of ad hoc, like, when is SVR going to do a class? So I'm just curious, is there a show of hands? Who would want to go to a class that was a weekend or a week long to learn how to do best practices in VR development? Would you pay money for it? Okay, that's good. Good to know. Yeah, we have an embarrassment of riches when it comes to experts in the field, but we're definitely going to put it together. It's kind of the same question, filmmaking class, how to do 360 video, put it together, compost it, and all that stuff. Any interest? Would you pay money to go? All right. Interesting. All right. Okay. Little recognition time. Raise your hand if you have published a VR title on any store. Steam, Oculus, Google Play, whatever. Raise your hands. You are heroes. Everybody give them a round of applause. They're living the dream. All right, this is one just for me. Seriously, would you guys want to have a VR LAN party?
Hell yeah!
These talks are great. I love the talks. I learned so much, but I never get a chance to hang out with people and just geek out with VR and games and stuff. So if we got a space where you could literally, like you did today with the demo rigs, wheel it in, we hang out, we order pizza, we get a bunch of Diet Cokes, and we play video games together, would that be cool? Hell yeah! Show of hands, who wants to come to that? All right, we're making it happen. All right, if you want to contact us, look at this page. Basically, go to svvr.com. Everything's there. Okay, community announcements. Come on up, Suzanne.
Hello, everybody. I'm Suzanne, and this is Erin, and we are co-founders of the AR/VR Academy. And I know that we were talking just now about VR dev classes in the South Bay. So we actually have signups open for our VR dev classes in the South Bay this fall. So, and we also have 2 classes running in San Francisco and 1 in LA this fall. So our focus is diversity initiative. The classes are very low cost, but we really want to get a big, wide community of creators working in VR right now. So you can go to the following URLs to sign up for our classes.
arvracademy.io and bit.ly/arvracademy. Or you can just bug us, we'll add you on Facebook and all the things. Thanks.
Okay, final thing too, we're also interested in mentors and instructors for our classes. Instructors do get paid, mentors is more of a volunteer basis, so please feel free to come talk to either one of us if you're interested in either of those.
Thanks very much. Anybody else with a community announcement?
Hello everybody, and thank you SVVR. I am Mickey Ferry, co-founder of Enflux. Doug presented at the last SVVR meetup. We make motion capture clothing for full body immersion in VR. It is no cameras, no wires, a complete mocap system right in your clothes. I know we have 3 developer kits taken by people in this room. We're shipping developer kits now. So any VR developer who wants to dance in VR, move your body around, exercise in VR, come see us. We've got a demo back there. Thank you.
Okay, we got 3 more and then it's demo time.
Thanks. Dave Arondash. I work for Accenture, which is a global consulting company for 400,000 employees, and we are working in AR, VR, and MR, and we're hiring. So if you know Unity and you've done some AR, VR, you want to play with HoloLenses, we got a bunch of them, see me back there. Thanks.
Hey guys, how are you? I am JM. I'm the founder of Vicarious. We are hiring also. We're looking for Unity developers. We are funded by Presence Capital, Colopal, Mavron, and AngelList. And Vicarious, to give everybody kind of a heads up of what it is, Vicarious is fundamentally about people, their experiences and the stories that they can tell with the media that they have on their phone. And then take that media and mix it with 3D animated characters, emoji, particle effects, environmental geometries, 360 photos and videos on a fun, quick, connected social network, where at scale you should be able to jump in there and experience anybody's life, up to 30-second highlights of anybody's life. So if you're interested in that and you're a developer, come check us out, vicariousvr.com. We'd love to hear from you guys. Thanks.
How many more people want to make an announcement? Just 2 more? Wow, okay. So we want to get people to demos, so to 10 seconds. I'm going to hold on to the mic.
Hi, I'm Will. If you're not familiar with us, company's Tactical Haptics. We've developed a new type of touch feedback that's going to bring a greater sense of physical interaction to VR. Two parts. One is that we're hiring mechanical, electrical, and firmware engineers, and 2, we're demoing our controllers with the touch controllers tonight, so you can try Oculus right next to our technology.
Awesome.
Awesome, Nicole Lazaro. I'm demoing Follow White Rabbit back there. We're also looking for artists and engineers, but I'm here. Who wants to make their own very own Pokemon style AR game? AR VR Women is holding a meetup next Monday at ThoughtWorks, so you can come and make your very own AR game. Thanks.
Thanks.
Hi all, name is Varag. I'm with Applied Materials this summer, and I'm here just kind of looking for people who are doing VR startups with hardware, and we're interested in talking and exchanging knowledge and hopefully doing something together. So.
Sly, Will, get that guy.
Yeah, and my name is Damon. I should actually probably put that. And I'm just looking for anyone who's interested in doing AR and VR for digital cities and also digital fabrication. So I'll be back there.
And last one.
Hi, I'm Raj. I'm co-founder for Live Before Buy. Get a lively shopping experience before you buy. So we are bringing a virtual reality shopping at your home or on your device, cardboard, far back to the right. We'll try in Android and OS apps. Thank you.
All right, it's demo time. Thank you, everybody.
John had it. I don't know what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh!
Well, okay. So we're doing the drawing if you're doing a demo. That was the... Yeah. Those are the cards for people who are doing demos.
Okay, did we get everyone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, how are we going to do it? So as a promotion for doing the demos, people who took the trouble to bring their gear in, they get entered into a drawing to win a 1070. So we're going to do that real quick to find out who won. All right. Okay, so it looks like Will from Tactical Haptics won a 1070. Come on up, Will, or Mike. Somebody tell Will he won a card. Okay. Accepting the award on behalf of Will is David O. All right, card number 2. It's another Tactical Haptics. Oh, let's see. Oh, I know whose card this is. Nicole Lazaro. Please come to the podium to claim your graphics card. Woo! All right, thank you for everybody who demoed tonight. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Everyone else who didn't win an NVIDIA card who demoed, you will be getting an SVVR 2016 t-shirt. Consolation prize. All right, enjoy.
Okay guys, hope you enjoyed the stream. We're hoping to do more of these streams during our meetups and throughout other times during the week. We do have an office with a bunch of gear, so this is Brian signing out. And thanks for joining us.